More than 100 years ago, biological creatures suddenly turned into violent creatures that attacked humans. Then the losers mutated and attacked people. Then the situation got out of control all over the world. But in battle, the awakened emerged with strong talents. They managed to defeat the variants repeatedly. Until the year 2245, all creatures gathered together and surrounded humanity to the last line of defense. And the last line of defense is in the Chinese capital. They were currently facing the third variant monster, and all three of them were level 3 awakened. They couldn't believe that their comrades in arms had lost to this triple variant creature. Then they tried to defeat the monster by working together. But unexpectedly they were all caught, and one of them couldn't use his spiritual skills. They were on the verge of defeat, but at the same time there was an attack aimed at the monster. A sword attack with repeated and powerful slashing speed comes from Master Yining, an awakened person at the god level. They were all saved, and the monster was defeated in an instant. But danger was still front of them. There was a monster in the air. This monster was different from the others, as if it had intelligence, and a variant of this monster had never existed before. And the two of them were determined to attack the monster without preparation. The monster immediately reacted and immediately countered their attack. Unexpectedly, those who were level 3 awakeners lost in an instant. This made the others shocked by the monster's abilities. This woman tried to retaliate against the attack, but the speed of the monster put her in danger, and at the same time Yining saved the woman from the monster's attack, and told him to back off because this wasn't his opponent. Currently, Yining is facing an unknown monster that has never existed before, and now Yining will face this monster. After blocking the monster's attack, Yining didn't expect that his sword would break. It was proven that the monster's attack was very strong, and Yining thought that from the level of attack of the monster, this creature was the 4th variant. Therefore, to face this monster, he had to use his full strength. Yining immediately threw his strongest attack at the monster. But unexpectedly, the moment before Yining's attack hit the monster, he was hit by a fatal attack from the monster. He was immediately helpless and fell to the ground. Yining also lost to the variant 4 monster with a fatal wound. That the variant 4 monster is very strong and is not an opponent of humans today. Then now Yining is worried about the future of the Earth without him and humanity. At headquarters they received news that the last hope in Yining's line of defense had been lost. And now how could they or humanity survive the attacks of these increasingly powerful and violent monsters? Then they were forced to use a plan using nuclear power. Their plan is to use humans as a medium to carry and detonate nuclear bombs at the monster. Then an explosion occurred on the Earth, the last defense of mankind with enormous sacrifices. Suddenly one November morning, 6/61, a young man woke up from his fainting and seemed to remember something. When he woke up, the guards received orders that this man was infected with a mutated virus, and if he woke up he would be finished. It turns out that this man is Yining, who revived 3 years ago, on the day of the talent test. And it turns out that in Yining's previous life, someone manipulated Yining's talent test, and Yining had no choice left to finish them off. Yining defeated them both easily. In his previous life, he mostly carried leftover goods from the war and spent his life as a homeless person. But currently the Chinese war zone has fallen, and there are no resources to grow. It had only been 7 months since he had advanced to level 3 in a hurry, and was still far from true strength, so he couldn't save his family. But now he will pay for everything so he can save his family and many people, and stop this destruction. Then he checked the system of the Apocalypse Sword God and activated it. However, this system has changed a lot, perhaps because of reincarnation. And now he must immediately find the perpetrator of the obstruction of his talent in his previous life, namely this life. But at the same time he was immediately surrounded by many people. And Yining must get out of this situation by taking their leader hostage. Yining also used his speed to take their leader hostage. The guards were helpless against Yining's speed. Finally he managed to take the leader hostage and told him to take him to the test field. However, at the Awakened Exam Testing Center, many people have registered to take this exam. They will all bring hope to humanity in the future, and hope that from the many participants who take this awakened exam, there will be some people who have rare powers that can bring change to humanity. Suddenly an alarm sounded that someone was infected and was holding the officer hostage. That person was Yining. Then the other officers told him to surrender now. But Yining emphasized that he was not infected, and what he wanted to do was take this awakened test. This person ordered the soldiers to arrest Yining, but here he knew about the military regulations on the basis of his arrest. namely Regulation Number 137 regarding territorial security. Those who change must receive preferential treatment according to the regulations. So this was a violation of military orders. But if Yining contributed enough to his cause, then it could be corrected. So on that basis, he did not fight back when beaten by a soldier. But this person instead told him to finish off Yining for causing a riot at this important event. The soldiers were preparing to do so, but suddenly a spiritual plane came to that place. Then there was a person who came out of the plane, and it turned out that he was the Supreme Commander of the Heavenly Wing military. The third level changed Supreme Commander Xiao Hai. Xiao Hai went down to the place where there was a crowd of soldiers. The commander had such a strong aura, and what he was doing here. He came here because he was interested in the condition of a young man who was suspected of being infected and was holding a soldier leader hostage. Then he wisely said that currently the military is lacking a high level of individuals. And he told Yining to carry out an awakened test. If the changes didn't work, he would immediately be dealt with here. Yining finally agreed and immediately got up to do the awakening test. They all underestimated that people from the lower classes like Yining would not be able to awaken awakened powers. But what he is doing now is improving his previous life as he was manipulated and made mistake after mistake. Then in this new life he will start his first trial. Yining's fate is in his hands now. He touched the wall to check the strength of his body, and unexpectedly a powerful aura surrounded them all. They were all surprised by Yining's strength check, because the aura was indicated to be very strong. So now he will try to further test the power of awakening in his body. But it was unexpected that Yining's talent strength continued to increase from the initial D, C, B, A. They were all very surprised because how could someone from the lower classes have such infinite power? But for Yining, this is still not much. Testing using crystals, even Yining can do more than this. This person was shocked by Yining's test, because how could someone from a lower class be able to do that? The chance of this happening is only 1 in a million. But for Commander Xiao, the results of the test are still not over, and his strength can still continue to increase. Yining's resurrection power check was still increasing rapidly, making the candidates shocked to see such a thing. For Yining this was still not enough, and he continued to release his aura to the point where he couldn't release it anymore. Then unexpectedly his talent strength exceeded a level, and now his talent strength reached this level. The candidates were very surprised by Yining's strength, but for Commander Xiao, Yining's strength could still increase beyond his level. This event was extremely rare, because it concerned the future of the third level of change, and it was an important moment. Then Commander Xiao instructed his troops to leave the city and ensure the prevention of attacks by monsters from outside. Due to the global effect of Yining's powerful aura, Commander Xiao had to ensure his troops were deployed everywhere to prevent any incidents. The power of the aura that was generated from him was so powerful that the effects of that aura were global or large scale. As a result, the spiritual plane surrounding this place was slightly torn apart. Yining finally reached the limit of the awakened power test. The people around were still shocked and didn't seem to believe the power of Yining's testing. They were all still so amazed that they were speechless. And this made Commander Xiao express his opinion that Yining was truly an SS level pureblood. And he speculated that if the S level could be the third change, then the SS level would be more than that, and it would seem like the whole world and humanity would change or have hope. Seeing and thinking about this, Commander Xiao laughed and looked happy about it. Because they now have a talented person. These prospective candidates seemed to not believe that things had happened so quickly, which previously people had not expected, and now they had high hopes for Yining, so that he could bring about change for the future. However, for Yining, he should still be able to advance to SSS level. But because this crystal is only capable of reaching SS level. But for now that was enough. Now his quest system has been completed in the form of the Sword God system, and its first and second effect enhancements. But for Yining, this is even a good achievement compared to his previous life, because he was able to reach 2 levels and 1 skill level. But now this new system can increase the skill to SSS level, and now he had the idea to test all these skills. While Yining was paying attention to his system, Commander Xiao with a happy face offered Yining whatever he wanted at this time because he had achieved results beyond his expectations. But when Commander Xiao offered this, Yining was still focused on his system. But to Commander Xiao, he probably still looked shocked by the incident. Then Commander Xiao took him to his office to talk a lot about Yining. Here he finds out that Yining was framed by someone and almost didn't pass the exam because of that. And now the investigation is underway. Apart from that, they chat about sending Yining as the first candidate for the breeding program. Because of Yining's achievements during the test, he will be guided by a third-level person and given resources and equipment. Then they also discussed Yining's talent, which is psychic or telekinesis, and now Yining needs a book about sword skills. Xiao complied with Yining's request and gave him a copy of a high-level sword skill book. Then now Yining wants to return to his family because he hasn't seen him for a long time and wants to tell them about this news. Commander Xiao ordered elite soldiers to escort Yining back to his house to ensure his safety. And he also wanted to see reports about Yining, who almost failed or lost the opportunity to take the awakened test. Yining finally arrived at his housing complex and said goodbye to his seniors. Then the residents had enough surprise to see Yining brought here with awakener soldiers. What actually happened? Then on the road he met a little girl named Xian, and the little girl responded to him as Big Brother. Yining remembered in his past that in his past life he couldn't save his sister. But now he is determined not to repeat this incident, and will protect his family no matter what happens. Then Yining cried while hugging his sister because he was so happy to see her again. They finally immediately returned to their house because their mother was waiting for them, and Yining couldn't wait to tell her mother this good news. They had returned to their house and were eating delicious food that Yining had brought from the training camp. Then his mother asked about the awakened test because many of his neighbors had asked about it. Yining also answered his mother's question that he had successfully passed the awakened test. Hearing this, his mother cried happily. Hearing this news, they looked very happy because their life would be happy in the future and they wouldn't have to live hard anymore. Late night arrived. His mother and sister were fast asleep. It made him happy to see them sleeping full. Yining checked his system. With the completion of the mission, he got 4 attribute points, and the level C sword stab skill was detected. Then the sword skill stab sword was upgraded to level SSS to sword storm. When checking and reading the system book, Yining was quite surprised that level C skills could be upgraded to SSS. But all of that must require or consume 4,500 points of spiritual energy. Apart from spiritual energy, to use the sword storm skill, Yining must reach level 3 first. But the problem is that the book's system doesn't allow it to reveal any information. In other words, before he was promoted to level 2, he had to avoid using sword storm in front of people. Sword storm skill was a high-level skill that he had never seen in his previous life, and Yining really couldn't wait to use it. With the apocalypse, the world is full of spiritual energy, then various dungeons appear everywhere, with awakening and adventure and trials that have been completed. Relevant information about dungeons could gradually be gathered by humanity. The military in particular spent a lot of manpower and resources researching, and then developing test dungeons. And when compared with natural dungeons, fatal dangers could be avoided in those trial dungeons. Then the security can also be increased to an extreme level. In the end, Yining decided to go to the trial dungeon, which was in the Heavenly Wind safe zone. And he had arrived at the place. Then Yining immediately asked the officers to open the low-level dungeon, for one person of any type. The officer knew that he was Yining who had SSS talent. But the officer suggested to him that if he wanted to enter the dungeon he had to go with a partner, and with his current strength, it was very dangerous to enter alone. Then Yining just wanted to go alone and wanted to try something in the dungeon. Yining finally entered the trial dungeon, with a city background and low levels. This situation exactly happened not long after the apocalypse. When he entered, he got a dagger weapon with a weak level. But it's good to be able to test the weaker the weapon, the easier it is to test the skill. When Yining started exploring this dungeon, he was faced with a mutant monster that suddenly attacked him. However, he easily avoided the mutant monster's attack by kicking its head with his knee. Then Yining used his combo attack using the dagger he got, stabbing it quickly from above. He managed to finish the mutant monster easily, and it was time for him to hunt. Then Yining tried to go deeper into the dungeon, and when he opened the door, he saw another large mutant looking at him. Indiscriminately, the mutant immediately attacked him suddenly. Before the mutant's attack hit him, Yining immediately kicked the mutant's head with his knee upwards. After that, he immediately stabbed it and ended with a slash using his dagger. Even though his physical condition is still not optimal, the fighting skills he acquired previously make these zombie mutants easy targets. Then he will go deeper to test all his skills. After entering deeper into the trial dungeon, he arrived at the town square. Then after passing the shops, the boss area should be in the square on the right. Can see lots of low-level zombie mutants in front of Yining. For now he is running out of time and doesn't want to fight all these low-level zombie mutants, because it will waste a lot of time. Yining immediately ran towards the group of zombies quickly while taking out his dagger. He had to finish this quickly and go find his boss. He ignored the group of zombies and continued to run forward quickly. Until Yining's actions provoked all the zombies to chase him, and there were a lot of them. He doesn't care what happens to all the zombies, because for him a bunch of zombies are worth nothing. Without increasing Yining's spiritual energy if he defeats all the zombies. The main priority right now is to find the boss first and defeat him. Then he arrived at the place where his boss was marked by the system alarm going off. First Order Pinnacle Mutant Corpse Chewer incoming. Danger will soon approach Yining. Suddenly shocked, he saw a big monster behind him, and a very fast monster. It turns out that the boss of this trial dungeon is this monster, namely Corpse Chewer, the first level peak mutant boss. Yining managed to avoid the sudden attack from the boss with his speed. Normally to defeat the first peak level mutant requires at least 3 people who have awakened at the same level. If Yining didn't come here to train his talent, no matter how good he was, he wouldn't be able to defeat the first pinnacle mutant head-on, plus the many zombies around him. The mutant boss along with many zombies began to attack Yining simultaneously. After Yining avoided a direct attack from the mutant boss, he immediately started running fast towards the boss's hand, then stepped on it and jumped high into the air to immediately carry out a sudden fatal attack right at the mutant's weakness, namely the back of the neck. When Yining was in the air, he immediately used his skill to attack the back of the mutant boss's neck. A direct, deadly attack accompanied by a blue beam like a laser shot hit the target right on the back of the mutant's neck. The deadly skill attack is called Sword Storm. Such an extraordinary attack that the mutant boss was defeated in an instant. Yining himself didn't believe in the skill he used because he could defeat this mutant with just one fatal attack. He wouldn't know about his skill capabilities if he didn't go to this trial dungeon. With this power, he can even defeat level 2 mutants easily. After defeating the mutant boss, Yining got 5 points of spiritual energy, and he got the white equipment Agile Hand. Then agility, speed by 1 point and shooting stability increased by 15%. Now his mission here is finished, and he is lucky enough because here he got equipment. Also, it is no longer of any use in this trial dungeon. Yining has left the trial dungeon and immediately gave the token to the officer. Then when Yining left, one of the officers got a warning that there was one team that was going to this trial dungeon and defeating the mutant boss. But this officer was sure that no other team had entered. Apart from defeating the mutant boss, his equipment was also taken. However, this officer just remembered that Yining had just come out of this trial dungeon and immediately looked at the statistics system, and how surprised this officer was that the one who did all that, from defeating the mutant boss and taking the equipment, was Yining. Yining returned to the settlement there. The situation was very dire. They were selling food and could be exchanged for ammunition. This zone is probably illegal because there are often patrols around here. There is a free sale of ammunition. Then the situation here is that Heavenly Wind will be razed to the ground in the next year due to the invasion of level 3 mutants. And in the next 10 days, there will be a zombie riot, which will then attack Heavenly Wind's safe zone. This will put his mother and sister at risk. In the capital safe zone's Central Army headquarters, they are discussing the existence of a person who has pure SS blood, namely Yining. There were a lot of victims from level 3, and with Yining's presence it was great, and they were trying to speed up training and get resources. But on the other hand, there were those who wanted to make Yining directly commander-in-chief. However, this violates procedures because it oversteps the gap between levels 3 and 4. However, this is possible because many of those who are at level 3 cannot go up to level 4 due to lack of resources. The proposal was accepted, and Yining with SS level talent would be selected for the nursery program and then transferred to the capital region. But there were those who rejected the proposal, the man said regarding the last paragraph of the report. This man then explained the reason. Because Yining was a psychic who certainly had the weakest physical abilities, and was generally in an additional position. Without the protection of other awakeners, fighting alone is just stupid, while the single-player promotion mission to go from level 1 to 2 is just luck. Then from level 2 to 3, the success presentation is 0%. The news finally reached Commander Zio, regarding the rejection of candidate Yining, and his importance being lowered. This was based on the fact that Yining was psychic, and could only reach level 3, so his evaluation potential was only equivalent to level A. So here Commander Zio lowered his importance regarding Yining, because from above he had investigated that Yining had no potential and ordered him to withdraw all the personnel who were involved. Protect him. The investigation into the case involving Yining's test manipulation was also cancelled. In another place, Yining was told that his interest in participating in the breeding program was revoked, because his potential was only equivalent to level 2. Here he was confused as to why it was only equivalent to level 2. Then he speculated that he and other awakeners who had psychic talents were still considered trash by the military. And they don't know that someone who can reach level 4 must have a psychic system within themselves. If Yining gave his theory about psychic powers being important for level 4 advancement to the military, it would be useless because he wouldn't be ignored. Then now what he has to do is find a way to return his strength to level 3, so that all these problems are solved. Now he had Sword God and Sword Storm system. This was a great start than his previous life. Then now he will start hunting mutants. Yining was already in the wild forest. Then when he wanted to enter the forest, he was invited by another awakener to hunt level 1 mutants together, so he could gain experience. But this was cynically rejected by Yining, because how could he hunt level 1 mutants in groups? And that will only get a few resources. Seeing Yining's arrogance, the awakeners looked angry, and Yining showed them a serious face. Seeing Yining's sharp gaze, the awakeners looked afraid, because for them, that kind of gaze was the only thing that often carried out various kinds of battles. Then now he was in this wild forest, and this place was the most dangerous outside the Heavenly Wind safe zone. Here there are level 1 and level 1 peak mutants. Then to go from level 0 to 1, Yining have to finish 3 mutants. Because previously he managed to finish a peak level 1 mutant in the trial dungeon, so there were only 2 mutants left. While Yining was walking, suddenly from behind a mutant quickly attacked him. However, he managed to avoid the mutant's attack, and immediately counterattacked. Yining will not use the Sword Storm skill because he cannot defeat the mutant in one attack, besides that he also has to train his psychic physique. Then lots of level 1 mutants attacked him, but with his physical strength alone he could defeat them all. For Yining, awakeners who are able to reach level 3 must find a way to awaken their psychic powers. Otherwise, it would be too late when level 4 mutants appeared, and now he had to convince the senior awakeners of the importance of the psychic system. Then on the other side there was a gunshot, and it came from Yining, not far from them near the Devil Tree. And they all planned to run because Yining is crazy. After facing a group of level 1 mutants, Yining was confronted by a peak level 1 mutant, namely the Devil Tree, and another intermediate level 1 mutant named Binder. 2 mutants appeared in front of Yining at the same time, but he didn't see the other mutant. Yining is now faced with a Demon Tree mutant, and until now he can't sense the other mutant. The mutant he was facing now seemed to look strong, because of its large shape and lots of fibrous roots all over its body with tough skin. According to him, there was something strange about the mutant he was facing. Then the mutant launched a strong fiber root surprise attack. Yining immediately dodged all the attacks with his speed. And the attacks from the mutant Devil Tree are not only strong, but also fast. But Yining also has speed, so he can dodge all these attacks. While avoiding all the mutant attacks, Yining also looked for the whereabouts of the other mutant, whose whereabouts were unknown. Until one incident when he was focused on finding the whereabouts of the other mutant, he was shocked again by a surprise attack from the Devil Tree mutant. With his physical strength and speed, Yining managed to avoid the surprise attack. He was surprised that this mutant could jump, and he was worried about the other mutant because it hadn't appeared until now. But there was no time to run away and think about it. All he had to do was fight the mutant. The Devil Tree mutant was still attacking Yining, until at the same time he could no longer dodge, and had to fend off the mutant's direct attack. Unexpectedly, the attack was so strong. But at one point when the mutant was still trying to attack Yining, he saw that there was a small mutant on the body of the Devil Tree mutant. From the attack of the mutant Devil Tree, Yining could not withstand it and suffered quite a lot of damage, then suffered an injury to his arm. At that moment he thought in his previous life he came to know that the fatal incident was caused by this small mutant who could hide well. Yining always thought that the other mutant was hiding somewhere, but it turned out to be right in front of him. This mutant is called Binder and can stick to the Demon Tree's body. Then the power of the Binder is a buff, a strength for the Demon Tree, and it doesn't seem to last long. Then when the buff cooldowns, the Demon Tree will take a step back. Yining, with his injured arm, prepares to face the next attack from the Tree Demon. The pattern of the mutant's attack was still the same as before, and he tried to guess the direction of the mutant's attack by jumping to its side. It turns out that his suspicions were correct. The Tree Demon was still attacking Yining from his side. But because his guess was correct, he managed to avoid the fatal attack easily and immediately ran towards the mutant tree demon's body, then climbed up its body. He prepared to do so by gathering energy in his dagger and his attack aimed at the mutant binder. Yining's fatal attack stabbed the binder mutant. After stabbing the mutant, he immediately ripped it out with all his strength. When the binder mutant is no longer with the demon tree, this mutant is very weak. Then after prying the mutant binder out, he immediately crushed it with his hands. And now the demon tree mutant no longer has any buffs from the mutant binder. After that, Yining took out his dagger again, preparing to attack, and the attack began with his physical speed, accompanied by the speed of the dagger's slash. The mutant demon tree can't do anything. Its roots are no longer strong before the mutant binder buff. Without the buff from the binder, the demon tree's strength doesn't even reach peak level 1. This will make it easier for Yining to defeat the mutant. However, the binder mutant didn't give up. He still tried to attack Yining, even though he was already weak. In the end, the demon tree's attack was nothing. Yining immediately responded to the attack from the mutant with the physical speed of his hands and dagger, so that only the head of the demon tree mutant remains. There are no more fibrous roots that can attack Yining. Without mercy, Yining immediately killed the level 1 mutant at the top of the demon tree quickly, and Yining succeeded in defeating the mutant demon tree. After defeating the mutant, psychic experience, tree bark material, dead tree armor equipment, giant claw, and finally psychic fruit. Although this is still not ideal, it is good practice and gets something out of it. Yining gets a psychic fruit. If used, it will increase the user's constitution by 1 point, and also provide 20% HP recovery. For Awakeners, increasing the level only adds 4 points. After Yining defeated the 2 bosses, his strength had increased and the results were satisfactory. Yining went to the mutant materials supply shop located in Heavenly Wind's Safe Zone City. Then he wants to exchange all the materials and give them a price. He purposely went to this place because he didn't want any resources to be wasted, compared to the system's trading channels. So all the materials from level 1 peak mutants were exchanged by Yining for a price of 697 points. And because he was a new customer, the exchanger gave him a price of 700 credit points. With the state of the world, getting 700 points is huge, because you can buy a lot of meat and also pay 8 mercenaries for him. They also offer Yining customization of equipment and weapons to clients' needs. But Yining prefers sword books, but they only have sword books with level D. They have sword skill books, namely Mad Slash, Sword Cut, and Continuous Slash, each of which is low level, not useful either. This time he can't choose a skill randomly because the skill effect may still be changed in relation to the original one. It's the same as the Sword Storm skill. Even though it's strong, there's still quite a long time lag when using it. And also this skill is not flexible because it covers a large area. Then when you meet a fast mutant, this skill will be useless and can attack back. If Yining is not interested in these low-level sword skills, then they can get a level D or C sword skill book, of course, at a slightly higher cost. But he prefers this sword cut skill because of the level of acceleration. They thought why Yining, the man who brought peak level 1 mutant materials, preferred low-level sword books, maybe because he was rich or stubborn. Then they sell the low-level sword cut book with 600 points. Yining left the place. The remaining credit points are 100, and Yining plans to buy delicious food for his sister Zion. When his sister was at home, she was very happy that Yining brought a lot of delicious food. This happens because Yining is an awakener and will continue to give the best for his family in the future. He also brought a lot of snacks to his sister. In today's world, it is very difficult to get snacks, and only officials have these snacks. His sister was also very happy because brother gave her lots of snacks. It was already late at night. His mother wouldn't be home late today, and his little sister was already fast asleep. Then now for Yining to learn the skills. In opening the Sword God system, and when opened he gets Sword Cut level 0. Then the skill slot he has is 2 of 4. Skill Heavenly Light Rift or Sword Cut level SSS. Yining read the effect of the new skill when it was released, namely an increase in agility of 600%. Even though the duration was only 1 second, it made a big difference and the choice was very right. Now he will test his new skills somewhere. Yining just remembered that there was a very suitable place to test this new skill, namely on the outskirts of the Heavenly Wind safe zone. Yining has arrived at the outskirts of Heavenly Wing's safe zone, and now he will test his new skills in this place. He already knew the mutants he would face in this place, like in his previous life. When he was fighting against these mutants, he was at level 2 Awakener and wore blue equipment. But now if he fought with this mutant, then every attack would have serious consequences. Then with his current physical strength, he would definitely lose quickly against that mutant. This is where the Climber D mutant is located. He might have forgotten that there is a fairly deep sewer in that place. Then he saw there was iron there and started cutting the iron. Yining did this because he thought of making a good trap out of iron in this sewer area. But something unexpected happened. An elite mutant shaped like an earthworm appears and gives Yining a surprise attack. He was quite surprised because the existence of the mutant was not detected in his senses. The worm-like elite mutants began to attack Yining quickly and powerfully. He managed to avoid the elite mutant's attack, and good thing was that Yining trap he set there worked well. So coincidentally, when the elite mutant attacked Yining, the place where trap was located hit mutant. However, at the same time, the mutant he was looking for, namely a level 2 climber, appeared at high speed. Currently, because climber mutant has appeared, Yining is facing two mutants at once, namely, the elite mutant and climber mutant. With each mutant having different abilities, for example, elite mutants have strong attack power, then climber mutants have movement speed that exceeds that of mutants in general. And Yining now has to face the two mutants at once. The climber mutant immediately started his attack quickly on Yining, and he managed to dodge attack. However, this was very strange for him, because the speed of this mutant climber had increased compared to the last time he faced it in his previous life. Yining assumed that speed of the mutant climber increased due to the large number of dark areas in this area, such as sunlight being covered by height of the building. So for him, it is better to get close to this mutant climber, so that it is easier to avoid the next attack. But his attacks are unpredictable. Finally, Yining was cornered by attacks from the two mutants. He currently didn't have time to think about how to fight the mutants because he was constantly being pushed by the attacks from the two mutants. What is certain is that Yining has to avoid attacks climber mutants and fight the elite mutants directly. Then during the attack, he was hit by a heavy attack from the elite mutant. An iron trap that was still stuck in the elite mutant caused Yining to suffer quite severe damage, but he can still handle it. Yining's arm was injured due to the elite mutant's attack. Even though his purpose in coming here was to try out skills, this situation was very dangerous for him. If he used Sword Storm skill, this would be easy, but now there is no way to clear the area with Sword Storm skill, because the mutant climber is too fast and won't be hit by his Sword Storm skill. Plus, to completely avoid attacks from two mutants with level 0 physical strength is not enough. Yining thinks the only way to get out of this situation is to use the Heavenly Light Rift skill. This skill is the same as Sword Cut. It can only attack one target. Two mutants attacked Yining again, then chased him. While avoiding the mutant attacks, he thought about the success rate of this Heavenly Light Rift skill attack, because it could only attack one target. At that moment he just remembered in the description of the skill, that attack was accompanied by a sword aura. But he didn't know how long the sword aura was active, but it would be safer to estimate its shortest length. He analyzed his Heavenly Light Rift skill attack with the sword aura effect, that when adding the length of the arm plus the length of the sword aura to its shortest length, it would be an attack for more than one target and enough to attack the two mutants at once. From the results of his analysis, he started trying to put it into practice by making the two mutants attack simultaneously at one point. Then he started trying to attack with the Heavenly Light Rift skill at that moment. Finally, Yining used the Sword Cut Heavenly Light Rift skill to defeat the two mutants. And from the results of his analysis of his skill description, he succeeded in making the skill, which previously could only attack one target, become two targets. This happened because the sword aura effect of this skill was area damage, but he had to get the two mutants within range of the sword aura of this sword cut skill first. Then the two mutants, Climber and Elite Mutant, were defeated by Yining with his cleverness. Defeating two mutants at once with this skill is very good for him. Apart from not experiencing any effects from the user, the sword aura from this skill is also regional. This is better than taking the risk of attacking two mutants at once. But the special effect of this skill still hadn't appeared, and he had to learn more about this sword cut skill. However, the risk from all the events was paid off with good rewards. Yining got psychic experience, crawling feet material, agile core, and tearing winged claw equipment. On the other side of the Heavenly Wing region, an abnormal energy that had not been seen before was detected, and immediately sounded an alarm. They were all shocked because the alarm sounded, and they said this was because an abnormal energy was detected on the outskirts of Heavenly Wind City. They suspected that there were level 3 awakeners fighting in that area, but they confirmed that there were no level 3 awakeners fighting in that area. They also sent a team to check the incident. While checking the situation, they were surprised that they had never seen a battle like this before. And also not a level 2 awakener in the nearest military area can do this. From the results of checking, they found from the remaining energy that the psychic energy activated by this person's skill touched 4,000. And that amount of energy is equivalent to an intermediate level 3 awakener. Because of this incident, they immediately reported this emergency to the commander, even though this was not their authority. Yining has returned to the Heavenly Wind safe zone, and from the results of his hunting, he got good equipment with the attributes of agility, strength, special effects, and equipment skills in the equipment. If in his previous life to get this equipment, he even needed 60,000 credits. From the equipment obtained in the previous battle, he plans to sell it and hope to get a high price in this life. He immediately placed an advertisement for selling equipment online, but unexpectedly, after only a short time he placed the advertisement, there was already a notification from the buyer. There was a buyer who wanted Yining's tearing wind claw equipment and started negotiating about the price. Then Yining set a price of 60,000 credits. Then the buyer made an offer using resources, equipment, skills and food as the payment method. Then reduced the price by half to 30,000. And it looks like he doesn't need to worry anymore about finding a buyer later. Yining also agreed to the buyer's request, with the condition that the credit must not be less than 30,000. Then other resources and equipment. But for skills he only needed sword skills, plus psychic fruit, which would be good. This person, the buyer, really wants the equipment even if he has to risk everything. Then he instructed to look at the contents of his inventory, especially those related to the swordsman class. The workers obeyed what this person ordered, and 30 minutes later they had collected all the equipment. But for him all this was still not enough, and he planned to pay the deposit first to secure his equipment. He immediately ordered his workers to immediately take the money. Deposit money has been sent to Yining, and now he thinks about his mother and sister because they always had a hard time in their previous life. But now he will make his mother and sister happy. Currently he had gotten enough resources and had to ensure that they could live as well as possible. Then the next day at Heavenly Wind Real Estate Company, Yining came to look at the apartments there. He said to the woman that he currently wanted the best apartment in this place. Then this woman thought that Yining, a level 0 awakener, dared to come here just to look at property, and thought that he didn't have any money. The woman explained that the best apartment here was priced at 40,000 credits, and that was very expensive. But Yining would casually transfer 40,000 credits right now. Besides that, this woman was a little confused because she saw Yining's appearance like a poor person and talking about money. Yining immediately started processing a transfer because there was only 13,000 credits left. This woman looked a little annoyed because she thought Yining was trying to fool her, and this was just a waste of time. While processing, he received a notification from the buyer that the credit collected was 39,375 plus some equipment and psychic fruit. He checked the shipment. Because there were no problems, he approved it. Yining immediately transferred his 39,375 credits. When she heard the message notification from the transfer, this woman was very surprised because he really didn't lie to her. Then finally, Yining and his sister get a VIP apartment. They will also get satisfying service from Heavenly Wind Real Estate. His mother and sister will now live here. Then his sister will no longer need to look for rubbish outside from now. Yining gave the key to his sister, so that when mother came, she could open the door. But right now Yining can't stay here because he has something to do. He immediately went out to get more resources because the resources he got from defeating climbers were low. Currently a good choice is to go to Corpse Academy, the only wild dungeon in the safe zone that can provide psychic fruit. He immediately ran quickly to catch time to the dungeon. In the Corpse dungeon, there is a level 2 mutant, and a special reward based on how cleanly he completes the dungeon. Until now, no one has reached the highest rating in this dungeon, which means the prize is still there. Then with the SSS level skills he has, Yining can definitely handle it. Finally, he arrived at the place on time. Then immediately did a search, and there were already 14 people registered in the dungeon. Corpse dungeon will start in a minute. Then the background of this dungeon is 7 days after the apocalypse, with a large number of humans turning into zombies and occupying the academy building. Then after passing the basic mission, they can exit this dungeon. Here can also see people thinking about plans, how they can succeed in this dungeon. But here there are also those who want a party like this person named Gao Yun. He offered himself as party leader because he had been to this dungeon before. Some people seem to believe this man's words and will make him the party leader. According to him, This dungeon has a medium to high level of difficulty among all level 2 dungeons. Hearing this, they seemed surprised. If they didn't work together, they would be finished. Then he approached Yining, who was seen alone in the back, and arrogantly considered him a level 0 awakener. He thought that Yining was just a beginner trying to enter the dungeon on a whim. But suddenly Yining showed his aura, and this person was afraid to see Yining. Then he was still bragging about a level 0 awakener, who only gave them trouble in the dungeon, and told them to run if there was a problem. In the end, this person let Yining go, and didn't offer to let Yining join the party to develop. This person also warned them never to come to this dungeon on a whim. Then he also explained that on previous experience, there were 2 bosses in this dungeon. As a result, many of the team lost, leaving only 2 people with level 2 awakeners to pass. For this person, it was an unforgettable experience. On the other, Yining is analyzing his chances of success in this dungeon. When he looks at the system, because attributes are still low, he won't be able to get psychic fruit. Then there were many level 2 awakeners with a strength of 18, but now he has reached a strength of 17, which means that if add his 2 SSS level skills, Yining will be able to pass this dungeon. They had all entered the dungeon first, and began to explore the dungeon carefully. But they saw someone from a distance. It turned out that the one in front was Yining, who was running fast. They were mocking him on. How could a level 0 awakener get through this dungeon alone without a party? And they would ignore him now. Yining kept running, and now he headed up the building with stairs. However, when he climbed the stairs, he saw 2 students in danger. But unexpectedly, it turns out he is a mutant who can turn into a human. Without thinking, he immediately finished all the mutants. Yining in his previous life already knew about this incident, that the person was a fake who asked for help. But when he got close, they would ambush him. Then now he headed to the underground jail because his goal was to be there. On the other side, they are all at the front in the dungeon and have found the first boss, namely Nukikyubai female core. They all plan to defeat the first boss. Then the next step after eliminating the first boss is that all monsters here will go frenzy because of the buff, so they have to hide first until the frenzy buff runs out. They carefully approached and observed the boss, then slowly tried to get closer, but in their system it was detected that the female core boss was at intermediate level 2, and their whereabouts were already known to the boss. Because this boss already knew about their existence, this man as a tank class awakener tried to holding attack from the female core boss and order the others to attack the boss together. They also, with their respective abilities, tried to attack the boss together according to the instructions given by that person. All their attacks were launched towards the female core boss. All of their attacks managed to hit the female core boss, when the boss fell silent for a moment due to all the attacks that hit the boss. This man immediately carried out an attack by using his shield as a weapon to attack the boss when he was momentarily unconscious. It was very unexpected that all the attacks directed at the female boss core previously did not work, and suddenly quickly disappeared. Then attack other people quickly. They were very surprised. One of them had lost because of the attack from the female core boss. Then this man continued to give instructions to attack the boss according to their previous plan. On the other side, when Yining tries to take the mission, namely to defeat the butcher, it has gone. He saw a notification regarding this dungeon, that someone had already taken the mission, and it seemed like he knew who had taken on this defeat the butcher mission. They are all really in danger now, because the female core boss hasn't lost yet. Another boss appeared. Then the boss immediately finished one of them from behind quickly. It turned out that this person was the cause of all this, because he was the first person to take this dungeon mission. He was an Awakener class tank who couldn't deal damage to the boss, so it was certain that he wouldn't get good gear if he finished this dungeon. Therefore he intends to be the last one standing when this dungeon is finished. Even if he only gets a low score, the gear he gets will still be good. The reason these 2 bosses appeared at the same time was because of the missions that this people had taken beforehand. So many of the party members were confused and didn't know that the other boss had appeared even though female crops had not yet been defeated. This guy Gao Yun fooled his own party members and still attacked with a ruined plan. The plan had messed up, but Gao Yun still carried it out, with him trying to block attacks from 2 bosses at once, then other people attacking the 2 bosses together. The number of the party had decreased, and Gao Yun's plan was no longer useful because their attack power had also decreased. But they still followed the instructions given from Gao Yun. Yining watched them from the distance with a smile, that the party had taken the wrong leader and they had a bad plan. For him, there are still hidden bosses, visible in the system, namely the level C boss Blightbone and level B Corpse Master. The two hidden bosses that Yining said just now had appeared in front of him now. Then he will immediately invite the two bosses to go downstairs to join the fun. The two mutant bosses immediately attacked Yining. During the attack, he immediately jumped from the top of the building. And for him this was perfect because they were in frenzy now. Yining got down right in front of Gao Yun. Then he was confused about why a level 0 awakener was here, and what he was trying to do. Suddenly, it was unexpected that Gao Yun's party members had been captured by the bosses with the frenzy buff. Then Yining casually patted Gao Yun on the shoulder and asked that this game was what Gao Yun liked. Gao Yun's party members have lost, and now the two of them are facing two mutant bosses at once in the same place, and at the same time. When approached by Yining, Gao Yun looked frightened and accused Yining that he had activated the quest, causing a mass incident like this. Of course, Yining won't just keep quiet, and will bring this big problem to Gao Yun too. For him, because Yining is here, his plan failed. He plans to trick Yining and finish the boss last 3 hours. Then the leader of this party told his members to run to the roof of the building. It would be a stupid decision to run to the roof of the building, because that would leave them surrounded in one direction. Then, they wanted to enter the building. They were surprised by Yining, who was already there quickly. One of them, in a face of anger, suddenly attacked Yining, but his attack was easily avoided. This person was surprised how he, a level 0 awakener, could avoid his consecutive attacks. And here Yining talks about their friends having lost the Butcher's quest after it was activated. All the party members were shocked to hear Yining's statement, and immediately became angry with Gao Yun, their party leader. Then they thought their friend Zhang Tao's defeat was because of his actions, and tried to use them as bait to gain experience alone. However, Gao Yun still denied that it was Yining who activated the quest. And now that they are trapped in this building, they definitely won't be able to holding the onslaught of the mutants, plus the 4 bosses who are still alive. They all looked panicked about all this. The 3 big bosses are already in this building area. Then the female corpse boss who can blend in with a crowd of normal mutants. Their situation is very difficult. In the end, these mutants have started to enter the building, and they are preparing to fight. They immediately fought all these normal mutants who started to enter the building area, and the number of mutants was very large. How long can they holding the onslaught of these mutants? 3 large mutant bosses were seen starting to surround the building, but they all continued to attack the mutants and hoped to survive all of the mutants' attacks. Unexpectedly, the 3 big mutant bosses started climbing to the top of the building. They looked shocked by the aggressiveness of the mutant bosses, but they still tried to survive by attacking all the mutants seen in front of them. It seemed that they were very tired and had run out of stamina because they continued to attack the mutants non-stop. They were in a very bad condition, and it was impossible for them to get out of this situation. But at the same time, Yining seems to have a crazy idea about all this. Yining's idea was to tell them to jump off the building, because that was the only way to try to get out of this situation. But they thought that Yining was crazy and gave up on this situation. Yining will try something, as seen from his action of jumping high from the roof of a building and gathering energy from the air. Then they were pressured by all the mutants and started to follow Yining's plan to jump from the building. They all ended up jumping from the top of the building, but not for Gao Yun because for him, it would be fatal if he jumped from the top of the building. Because he is an Awakener class tank, he will try to survive in this place because it will give him a chance to survive. Seen from above, when Yining was almost finished with his energy gather, he saw Gao Yun still at the top of the building and not jumping. When the energy gatherer is complete, he immediately released his signature move, namely Sword Tempest, a skill that can launch a large amount of energy into one point, and the damage from this skill is area-based. Then Gao Yun, who was still in the area, was affected by the large Sword Tempest skill from Yining. The effect of the energy explosion caused by the Sword Tempest skill was so great that all the buildings in the area were to be destroyed, and the large mutant bosses along with a large number of other normal mutants would have disappeared instantly. They also seemed shocked by the power released by Yining, a level 0 awakener. A huge explosion that was so powerful that the area around hit by the explosion disappeared instantly, including all the bosses and mutants within the range of the area. After the incident was over, Yining came back and asked how they were all, and it looked like they were apologizing to Yining for attacking and mocking him before. But for him it wasn't important, and Yining instructed them to finish all the remaining mutant zombies in dungeon. Then they complied. After that, Yining left them because he still had things to do. What Yining is looking for right now is the blue equipment from the female corpse mutant boss that he hunted before. And the blue equipment was like half a skull. He seemed to have difficulty finding it. But from a distance in that area, Yining saw a blue light. He approached the blue light and found the blue equipment he was looking for, namely the grudge skull. This equipment has the effects of telekinesis and psychic detection, which is very useful for Yining. And the main reason these psychic powers are always underestimated, because they can't condense their abilities into concrete attacks like other awakened ones, making it hard to cause significant damage. Then after getting the blue grudge skull equipment, he immediately extracted the effects of telekinesis and psychic detection into himself. And Yining immediately received a new buff power in his body. Yining has gained this new power. After receiving new powers from telekinesis and psychic detection, he immediately tried out his new powers, starting with telekinesis, by trying to lift a large rock. Telekinesis is the ability to move objects or cause changes in objects with the power of thought. So what Yining tried was to try to move the large rock in front of him with the power of his mind. After that, by the power of his mind, the large rock could be destroyed by him. Then from the results of crushing the large rock, there would be rock fragments. So he controlled the rock fragments resulting from the crushing of the rock to destroy an object, and it worked well. According to him, the destructive power is quite good, but if the level in this case increases, the destructive power can be even better. After trying the power of telekinesis, he will try the next power, namely psychic detection. He began to try out his new powers. Psychic detection is a power that is able to determine the location around a target by relying on distance and direction. So now, he knows the whereabouts of other awakeners who are fighting with the mutant zombies. However, the power of psychic detection at this time can only detect a maximum distance of 29 meters. From the blue equipment he had obtained, it indicated that this dungeon had been completed. All zombies have been cleared, and he can leave the dungeon at any time. Apart from getting blue equipment, Yining also gets various rewards, namely white equipment, attribute points, B-level skill book, and extra attribute bonuses. The level also increased. After leaving this dungeon, he will also get additional equipment outside the dungeon. Then Yining immediately leaves the dungeon. When Yining comes out of the dungeon, he gets an additional prize, namely Thunderstrike boots, with 20% jumping ability, paralysis effect, and gets the thunder movement skill. Then an additional 10 agility boost, and now he will try the power of his new boots equip in the advancement mission. Now Yining goes to the mission center at night in Heavenly Wind. Then he met an officer who was working as a mission recipient. After that, Yining wanted an advancement mission, and the female officer thought Yining wanted a level from 0 to first order. But what he wanted was not that, namely the 4th second order mission. The female officer was very surprised when she heard Yining's wish. The woman thought that he was just joking. When the woman checked Yining in her system, she saw that Yining was only a level 0 awakener, and there were rules for accepting missions. This female officer thought that Yining lost his mind when taking this mission, and if he forced to do it, he would get a penalty. But here there is a tool called Dual Classes Awakened, which is a tool that is able to measure the user's abilities, and this tool might be able to avoid penalty. Then he began to try the tool by radiating his power and preparing to accept whatever consequences it might have. This woman was very surprised to see the reaction from results of the tool used by Yining had, and here he confirmed that he requirements and rules for taking the 4th level mission. However, at the same time, there were people who knew Yining's whereabouts and greeted him. Yining was confused by the man. This man's name is Huang Xiao, captain of Heavenly Wind Recon Squad. He talked to Yining about a level 0 awakener who tried to work hard when it was late like this, and mentioned a little about a psychic talent who wouldn't be able to reach the top even if he worked hard. At that time he was with his soldiers. They were all preparing for level 3 combat. And Captain Xiao gave instructions to all his soldiers to immediately prepare to leave. But here it looks like Yining has a plan for all of this. At the abandoned Heavenly Wind Zoo, there is a team led by a commander from Zhengzhong district named Honggang Level 3 Awakener. They are currently undergoing operation in this abandoned Heavenly Wind Zoo, and they plan to report the operation to Heavenly Wind, because this is not their territory. It seemed like they were looking for something, and they also knew that a few days ago, the Heavenly Wind soldier were also looking for something in this zoo. For Hangong, it wasn't necessary, because they came here to get blue equipment. Then this person found out the news about Yining, an SS rank awakener who was abandoned by Heavenly Wind, which might put them in misery. Then based on the results of their investigation here, there are level 2 and 3 mutants. They were all preparing to finish all mutants in this place, with other soldiers dealing with level 2 mutants and Commander Han Gong himself dealing with level 3 mutants. At the same time, Yining was already in that place and was observing. There, Yining also checked the missions in this place, including eliminating 3 advanced mutants and surviving for 24 hours. Then he activated his detection psychic skill and saw from a distance through his skill that there was a team searching this place with the same goal as Yining. When Yining was observing the team, he was very surprised because Commander Hong Gong knew Yining's at that time, and this was bad for him because if he didn't hurry up, this mission would be completed by them. Then Yining hurried away. Finally, they were surrounded by 2 mutants, namely a zombie dog and a blood bear at the same time. Then they began to carry out their plan by separating the commander from other soldiers. They started split into 2 teams to separate the commanders from the zombie dog and blood bear mutants. Then Hong Gong felt a large aura from this place, and this large aura was probably from the 3rd mutant, namely the zombie tiger. It turned out that the huge aura actually came from the zombie tiger, and Commander Hong Gong was ready for this. Then they started fighting and attacking each other with their respective strengths. In the same place, Yining was monitoring them from a distance. He also tried to analyze this battle. The level 3 mutant zombie tiger dropped blue equipment, and to get it he had to complete all the missions in this place. But attacking these mutants at the same time as them would not complete the mission. But it would be a different path if they can't defeat all the mutants. Yining needed 1 crushing attack to finish all of these things. Because the Sword Storm skill is on cooldown, what he can use now is the Heaven's Rift Streamlight skill. But it would be risky to use skill from this distance, and what he needed now was the perfect moment. Commander Hong Gong can also be seen fighting seriously with the zombie tiger. The battle between Commander Hong Gong, a level 3 awakener, and a level 3 mutant zombie tiger was very fierce. They were seen frequently attacking each other. But here Hong Gong looks superior and starts to unleash his ultimate skill on the zombie tiger. When Hong Gong's ultimate attack made the zombie tiger lose consciousness for a moment, he immediately carried out a lightning attack from the air, and the attack directly hit the zombie tiger's head heavily. Hong Gong's attack made strength and agility become 1. The lightning attack from the air was able to make the zombie tiger fall, but at the same time, the zombie tiger's tail attacked Commander Hong Gong, until he was hit by the attack and bounced away, hitting the wall. Hong Gong's previous attack meant nothing to the level 3 mutant zombie tiger. In fact, he was the one who suffered serious injuries from the mutant. And it's time for him to use a special attack, because to fight level 3 mutants he must be faced with full power. Hong Gong began to gather energy in his spear, which was prepared to attack the zombie tiger. Finally, when the energy had been gathered, he started the special attack by using the Raging Flame Chop skill at the zombie tiger, and this made the mutant feel like it was on fire. Commander Hong Gong's special attack was finally able to finish off the zombie tiger. On the other side, the soldiers are still trying to defeat other mutants, and it looks like they will retreat because Commander Hong Gong succeeded in completing the main mission by defeating the level 3 mutant zombie tiger. All of them soldiers slowly backed and immediately ran away from the mutants' pursuit. At the same time, Yining was already monitoring and preparing to attack all the mutants from afar. Now is the right moment to attack the mutants from a perfect distance. It was very unexpected that Commander Hong Gong's special attack did not work on the level 3 mutant zombie tiger, and the mutant wake up again with a greater aura force that shocked them all. It seems that Yining has to defeat all the mutants, and when they are all surrounded by the mutants, he began to immediately gather energy for the Heaven Stream Rift Light skill. Only now is the right time for him to defeat all these mutants, without knowing who the person do this. The attack in form of a large-scale blue laser shot immediately hit all the mutants there with 1 attack. The level 3 zombie tiger was easily destroyed by this attack, and this made Commander Hong Gong confused by this very sudden incident. All the mutants who were there immediately defeated in 1 attack on a large scale and quickly. The other soldiers looked very confused about this incident. They didn't seem to believe that the 3 large mutants who had been in front of them this time had disappeared instantly. After this incident, Commander Hong Gong was seen to be very angry, because this person had stolen the mission by defeating the mutant zombie tiger, which produced blue equipment from him. Then, if measured by his power, Commander Hong Gong lost to that person's power. He planned to report this incident to Commander Zhao. From his efforts to steal the mission from Commander Hong Gong, he got blue Vengeful Tiger Gauntlets equipment, 3-point attributes with stats increasing by 3 strength, 2 agility and 30% attack speed. It is for this reason why Commander Hong Gong really wants this blue equipment. This blue equipment, Vengeful Tiger Gauntlets, is very useful. On the other hand, when Captain Huang Xiao was relaxing, he received a report from his soldiers that the Exploration Department just reported detecting energy from 2 level 3 awakeners. Hearing this, Captain Huang was very shocked, and he immediately ordered all the soldiers to gather. And if this matter is not handled seriously before Commander Xiao returns, then they will be in trouble. When Captain Huang wanted to rush, he saw Commander Hong Gong angrily calling Commander Xiao at that place. Then he greeted him and tell what made Commander Hong Gong from Zhenjiang come here. Then Captain Huang introduced himself to Commander Hong Gong. Finally, with an angry face, Commander Hong Gong told him that when he was in the abandoned zoo, he was defeating level 3 mutants there to get blue equipment. Then when his mission was almost successful, suddenly another level 3 awakener from the Heavenly Wind region stole his mission. So he didn't get blue equipment. Hearing this, Captain Huang now knew that the huge energy he had felt before came from that place. Captain Huang certainly opposes this because in the Heavenly Wind region, there is only one person with level 3 awakener, namely Commander Xiao. But Commander Hong Gong doesn't believe in this, and now he will go to meet Commander Xiao directly about this matter. Commander Hong Gong left the place, and Captain Xiao immediately reported this to Commander Xiao because this was very serious. When he heard the statement about a level 3 awakener from the Heavenly Wind region stealing the blue equipment mission from Commander Hong Gong, he was shocked to hear this. Commander Xiao immediately ordered Captain Huang to carry out an investigation into this problem, and according to him, this was not the right time to panic. Then Captain Huang will start searching the city for relevant equipment sales records. But on the other side, Yining was resting while looking at the mission system in his previous place. Currently, Yining still 2 missions left, Wind Eagle and the survival one, to be able to level up. Then he planned to buy a Wind Eagle online. Yining started to enter his request, and not long after, there was a notification from a seller offering Wind Eagle. In this transaction, he must be careful in taking steps because it can affect the price. Yining opened with a price of 800 credits, and the seller immediately rejected it. Then the seller put a price of 1,000 credits. For the seller, it seems easy for him to outsmart Yining when making a transaction by setting a high price. But here Yining knows the seller's trick. Yining immediately checkmated the seller with the statement that seller was a level 1 awakener, and how he could get the Eagle Wind, whether from a wild place or not. Then for Yining, the seller tried to manipulate him because he didn't know the price. Hearing this question, the seller realized that Yining could not be fooled and set a price of 800 credits. The end of the negotiations was that Yining only bought the Eagle Wind for 400 credits. And now Yining will go to the Anomaly dungeon to complete the requirements for his level increase. In this dungeon, no one has finished it with an SSS rating. Because the dungeon Anomaly is not about combat but psychic, and he will try how strong he is now. Yining has entered the Anomaly dungeon, and when he enters it, the sky shifted color. See that it's not only Yining who is in the dungeon, but there are several people. Their heads felt dizzy because the teleportation system was different from other dungeons. But there was a man who introduced himself to them, namely Lai Xiaoping. They all entered through the willpower system. They were all awakeners who were weak against direct combat. They can't even beat ordinary mutants. However, their coming to this dungeon was not just for fighting, but to test our willpower. Then this man Lai offered himself to lead this team, so they could complete the dungeon, because he had experience with this. And Yining accepted Lai's invitation to join his team. They also saw the objective of this dungeon mission, namely find ghost hidden in Fanghua School. They all looked scared, but Lai assured that the ghost in question was actually simply the willpower contaminated by psychic energy. Essentially, it's a variant of the willpower attribute, but ghosts are still powerful. Not only they can protect themselves from physical damage, but it can also control the willpower of others. And now they go through the building and find a clue. They were amazed by Uncle Lai's explanation. Now they are dividing 3 teams. The first is Uncle Lai with Zia, Tengfei with Yuan, and Yining himself. Yining was in the archives room and was investigating the piece of paper he found on the floor. Then read the contents of the piece of paper, with the reading teacher Tao. A suspect of attack Wang Fang and Wang Fang committed to suicide. Suddenly, during his investigation, a ghost approached him. The female ghost suddenly attacked him, and it turned out that the female ghost was Wang Fang. When the female ghost attacked him, Yining immediately activated willpower and tried to carry out a willpower transformation on the female ghost. However, when he tried to transform willpower, female ghost Wang Fang avoided it and ran away from Yining. She managed to escape from Yining's willpower attack by getting out of the window. Then it was seen from the system that each team had reported the results of their search, and Yining also reported the results of his investigation. On the other side, Lion Roman 11 during the investigation concluded that Wang Fang was attacked by Teacher and her family requested compensation, but were unsuccessful. After she committed to suicide, she turned into a ghost, created the fire incident, and took her revenge. After that, the Taoist priest came and sealed her, but now the talisman has fallen off. Our mission to find it and reseal it. Then Uncle Lai told Zia to tell them to gather in 201 dormitory, assume the talisman be there. Yining got the message and was a little confused why Uncle Lai had gathered them in the dormitory. Then Yuan and Tengfei also received a message from Zia and immediately go to dormitory. But they are now in danger because the female ghost Wang Fang is following them. Yuan and Tengfei ran in fear because they were being chased by the female ghost Wang Fang. On the other side, Uncle Lai, Zia, and Yining had arrived at the dormitory, but the two of them hadn't arrived yet. Then they decided to enter the door. Because this door was very hard, Yining immediately kicked it so hard that the door shattered. Seeing Yining's willpower, they were all shocked. They started to enter the room and found the talisman. When they tried to take the talisman, it reacted and formed a shadow like the woman in the teacher's dormitory. Then Yining confirmed to Zia that the clue she sent previously said the teacher who burned until gone living. From a distance, Yuan and Tengfei are seen being chased by the female ghost Wang Fang. And when they escape, Yuan's body is possessed by the female ghost. Yuan also changed like a person who resembled a mutant, and his behavior was like that of a person going berserk. Tengfei was attacked by Yuan, who was being possessed by the female ghost. The female ghost manages to possess Yuan's body and attacks Tengfei. Because of this incident, Uncle Lai will try to help him. Then told Yining and Zia to quickly activate the talisman and prepare to seal the ghost. Yining immediately took the talisman from Zia's hand and immediately carried out the sealing. The two of them prepared to seal. Then Uncle Lai took out the willpower binding to suppress the movements of female ghost Wang Fang. Uncle Lai was no longer able to holding the power of the ghost and told Yining to quickly seal it. But instead of sealing the female ghost, Yining instead sealed Uncle Lai by calling him Teacher Tao. Uncle Lai is surprised why he is the one who was sealed with a talisman by Yining, and according to him, if this continues then they will all be finished. But here Yining provides evidence by pointing his finger at the Yuan. It's surprising that condition of the possessed Yuan has calmed down. Uncle Lai's condition as a Teacher Tao has become stronger. Then Yining provides evidence that Uncle Lai is Teacher Tao, with the female ghost Wang Fang actually being Teacher Tao's willpower to test the team power. This was proven when the female ghost started to attack Yining for the first time, but failed, then changed his target to Yuan because he had the weakest willpower, and talked about Yuan which must be immediately sealed. Teacher Tao did this all to fail their mission, and used the system to wipe everyone. If they all follow the words of Uncle Lai, namely Teacher Tao, then they will all be in trouble. Now it's time for Yining to strike back with his willpower and tell Uncle Lai to show his true face. At that moment, Yining immediately attacked him with willpower. Yining's willpower attack directly hit Teacher Tao, and a surprising thing happened. Suddenly the face that was previously human now changed to that of a ghost or undead. Because Teacher Tao was successfully sealed, the mission in this dungeon was successful. However, Teacher Tao mentioned hidden missions, and if they don't complete the hidden missions of this dungeon, they can't get an SSS rating. Yining doesn't seem to know this hidden mission, and Teacher Tao seems to be doing his bidding by giving an answer about how Yining knows that Uncle Lai is a ghost. So that the mission in this dungeon goes according to plan, Yining will trust Teacher Tao's words. But Yining wanted Teacher Tao to say first about why he was the one who had to be attacked first by Teacher Tao. That's because if Yining could awaken intelligence when the dungeon is reset, and the previous memory can be retained. Hearing this statement, Yining looked shocked. That's better to reveal trump card and learn of any mission in Yining plan, then perfect Yining disguise next time and trick, then defeat more awakened. In this apocalypse world, it was the first time they heard about intelligence, and this dungeon was not level C but B, so they thought the system in this dungeon had a bug. And now it's Yining's turn to give a statement to Teacher Tao. Yining immediately gave his statement. First, the second mission prompt said don't trust lies. Second, Uncle Lai couldn't speak in the group system and handed it over to Zia. Furthermore, the clue spoke of Wang Fang committing it wasn't clear, but for the teacher it's certain. And last, the talisman that seals Wangfang is in her final place, not the teacher dormitory. After that she went crazy, but got admitted to a mental hospital instead. The family sought compensation from the school, but failed, so they set that fire to retaliate. Before he was gone, his willpower was contaminated and teacher Tao became a ghost. Later the school hired Taoist priests to drive away Ghost and seal teacher Tao away. Zia also remembered that only Uncle Lai was not disturbed by female Ghost, but also stayed calm. After the problem is resolved, Ghost teacher Tao will finally disappear from here, because Yining has sealed it. But before Ghost teacher Tao disappeared from here, Yining had words for him. It turns out Yining's words to teacher Tao Ghost were just provocative words. At least that's what he thought at the moment. Finally, the enemy in this dungeon, Ghost teacher Tao, has been defeated, and now they will soon leave this dungeon. In fact, the truth explained by Yining to the Ghost is not all accurate and correct. Then Zia thinks Yining is scarier than the Ghost itself. From the results of completing this anomaly dungeon, Yining managed to complete 100% and get SSS rating. From the results of completing the dungeon, he managed to get the evil bead item, and this was enough to save his life next time. Yining returned to the Heavenly Wind Mission Center. He came here to submit a mission. The female officer immediately checked Yining's mission, namely 4 level-up missions for level 2. When checking, this woman was shocked because Yining managed to complete 4 missions at once. This woman immediately processed it, and from these results Yining managed to get 7,300 credits with the system's strength, agility, physical and willpower increasing. Now he has reached level 2 Awakener. With the stats he had now, he planned to learn level B sword skills. However, to achieve this, strength, agility and physique must be 25. Then he will probably eat psychic fruit, despite careful planning. Yining needs 210,000 credits to reach the 35-point stat. For now, he will collect a lot of credits, because he has completed all the dungeons in Heavenly Wind. Now available dungeons are from the Zhenjiang region. At the same time, a red vortex can be seen in the sky, and this is a sign of a zombie wave. In his previous life, Yining know that the Heavenly Wind safe zone was suffered through a siege of a zombie wave, and his estimations it should be next week. Then Yining will tell this to Commander Zio, so that can take precautions early on. Finally, the news Yining sent reached Commander Zio. Commander Zio was shocked that he received a message from Yining in the form of a zombie horde, but for him the message from Yining was still doubtful to believe. Ever since the last great battle between humans and the zombie horde 40 years ago, the world has been peaceful for a long time. Now he tries to analyze the situation. Zombies are now trapped in abandoned cities, so having an outbreak is unlikely. Rather than wasting resources on unlikely threats, and now looking for third order in Tianfeng is our top priority. Somewhere Tianfeng Safe Zone Meeting Hall. Commander Zio went to the place and talked to Huang about important clues about mysterious third order and asked about the truth too. Then Captain Huang gave his report that the suspected mysterious third order was Yining. There was also evidence that Yining had made transactions for rare and expensive items that were difficult to obtain. From the report, Commander Zio confirmed this regarding Yining. Then Liaotian Military Committee gave its analysis that Yining had only been awakened for a week. Even with an SSS rank talent, it is impossible to level up quickly. According to Commander Zio, Liaotian's opinion is correct because the military doesn't favor Yining. Other third orders might see potential in Yining, or because Yining rare SS rank talent, he'd be secretly nurturing as an experiment. However, while the conversation was going on, a report came in the form of Yining completed 4 second order advancement mission. They seemed shocked to hear this. Then Commander Zio tried to calm down and concluded Liaotian's analysis, that a third order took Yining into the mission. Letting Yining scavenge after they handled the though parts actually proves Yining isn't a third order. Then Commander Zio told Captain Huang to send 2 people with the task of monitoring Yining's home and seeing who's backing him. Also deploy more personnel to keep an eye on the abandoned cities near Tianfeng to prevent a zombie outbreak. The border between Tianfeng and Zhenjiang Safe Zone. Death Factory. Yining prepares to enter the dungeon because his skill the Sword Tempest cooldown is over, and also to look for the necessary materials and item. Yining has successfully entered the B-rank Death Factory dungeon with the task of surviving each wave and have 3 minutes vote to exit the dungeon. Then first wave will commence 5 minutes. It can be seen that there are also many people who want to join this dungeon. It can be seen that these people are not ordinary people. Not only that, they also come from the same faction. There is also a third order awakener Lin Lan. This makes Yining creeps a little like something bad is about to happen. At the same time, this man named Zhang Lin's second order advanced awakener. He tried to be the leader of this expedition, but he saw that there was a third order awakener here. But when he tried to continue the conversation, the unexpected action happened. Lin Lan, a third order, immediately kicked the man hard, causing the man to fall straight down with the damage he received. Yining saw that the woman's movements were very fast, so he knew that a third order was not a weak person. It also seemed like Lin Tan didn't like it when someone below her level and talked too much in front of her. They re-shocked couldn't believe Zhang Lion was defeated in one attack, and Lin Tan told them to restrain the others. Then the situation around us becomes chaotic, because here there are two teams that have their own goals. It can be seen that they all hold their weapons and are ready to fight at any time. From the current situation, Yining tries to analyze the situation with a plan of letting them fight on the front while they reap the benefits. If awakeners and mutants are food for each other, then farming parties see humans as their bait. This person asked them that Zhang Lin probably still alive and they have vote to leave now, then they are still outnumbered. When she heard what this man was talking about, Lin Tan immediately took unexpected action. From Lin Tan's previous actions, she immediately introduced True Self, that we're the Blood Wolf Squad, and she was the captain. Then now this mission is under her control, and she also promised that if the other team manages to survive the 6th wave, she will give all the rewards and credit points and let their team live. But for Yining, he didn't believe the woman's words, and for now the best move was to stay hidden and watch how things happened, while waiting for the cooldown of his sword Tempest. Because if he don't defeat that woman in one attack, Yining will be in danger. Because the first wave starts soon, Lin Tan asked the other teams to tell them their names, ranks and abilities to immediately do the work. Then they gave all the information about name, rank and abilities to Lin Tan. Yining immediately gave Lin Tan the information that he was a willpower class who specializes in ranged attacks. For Lin Tan, a willpower class is very rare, but it would be useless in this dungeon. The first wave begins. Enemy count: 100 zombies, 2 first-order mutants. The team tries to holding and defeat the zombie waves in the first round. They will try their best to get through this wave of zombie attacks. It seems that Yining is also in their line to participate. The number of mutants is so large, they have no choice but to finish this first wave. They immediately got ready in their respective positions to immediately attack. And finally a fight broke out. They immediately fought with all the mutants who attacked simultaneously. From afar, Yining can be seen together with the ranged men, attacking the mutants from a distance. Their job is to cover the front line that holds the mutants in case of danger. They did their job well, and Yining, with his willpower, also did his job well by bringing down the mutants. This person was shocked by Yining's strength. How could his seemingly weak willpower be able to defeat a zombie with one hit? Lin Tan was a little surprised by Yining's power. It could be seen that he still had unexpected power at this time. They were finally able to get through the first wave easily and smoothly, without facing any dangerous threats. Finally, they can get through to the third wave, and the fourth wave will appear in 3 minutes. They seem to be having difficulties and getting injured along the way in finishing up to the third wave. Lin Tan slightly appreciated their team working, but this was only wave 3, because their job was to complete the 6th wave. Then she also appreciated Yining. Until now he was the only one who still looked fit and had no injuries. Yining's answer with the word luck made this person look annoyed, because Yining had only fired his weak willpower and not done anything else. But this man knew that Yining still had hidden powers that he had not released. Finally, wave 4 begins with the composition: 400 zombies, 1 second-order peak, 2 second-order mutants and 6 first-order mutants. The mutant zombies attacked simultaneously. They immediately prepared a plan quickly. Then they directly charged all the zombies and mutants simultaneously. But Song was in danger, but was successfully covered from afar by archers. However, the other archer lost his focus until he was defeated by the mutant. It can be seen that the wave 4 mutants had smart sense by attacking the back first. But this spearman didn't just let the back row be finished, he tried to attack the zombie. His attack succeeded in stabbing the zombie, but the zombie had a trap on its body that released acid, which hit the spearman. Zhong Tao and Ice Spikes were defeated. This person couldn't cover them both because his attack couldn't hit the zombie, because the zombie was so agile that zombie could dodge all of his attacks. Yining read the flow of the battle and analyzed that they would not survive this 4th wave, and he has to do something. Otherwise, he won't have a chance to use his trump card. Then this person was in danger because zombies attacked him. Then Yining immediately made a move. Yining immediately made his move and saved this guy quickly. Then at the same time he used his telekinesis power to attack the zombie with a ranged attack. However, the zombies can avoid long-ranged attack by Yining. But thanks to his telekinetic power, the attack can turn back to hit the zombie and defeat it. This guy was shocked after seeing Yining's true willpower, and Yining asked not to lose focus, because he was still in the middle of a battle with zombies and mutants. They returned to focus on fighting. Then Lin Tan is surprised because Yining is still hiding his true power from her. This man tried to discuss immediately giving the order to defeat Yining, but Lin Tan refused. For her now keep eye on him, we'll harvest him next round, and Yining's telekinesis power is nothing to her, she can crush him anytime. Finally the 4th wave was complete, they managed to pass it. Then 5th wave begins in 3 minutes. There have been many sacrifices to get through wave 4, and hope they can survive until wave 6. For now they only rely on Yining's strength and hope that he will still hide unexpected power in the future. Finally the 5th wave begins, with a composition of 500 zombies, 2 second-order peaks, 3 second-order mutants and 8 first-order mutants. They look dangerous and most of the mutants are large, then give off a terrifying aura. Wave 5's battle began, with Savage the mutant spiders immediately attacked with a crushing blow. And on the other side, this guy is also dangerous because his opponent is a centipede mutant with a large size and speed. Yining's telekinetic attacks are useless against the centipede mutant. He needs large movements and looking for gaps to defeat the centipede mutant. On the other side, the two of them also couldn't escape. They were both trapped by the large mutants surrounding them, and they planned to use cards to get out of the dungeon. The 2 mutants immediately attacked them simultaneously, but they tried to survive with their own power. Ice Arrow and Spiritual Warhammer tried to stop the movements of the 2 large mutants. On the one side, it seems that Yining is also in danger. He was attacked by a spider mutant and a centipede mutant simultaneously. Lin Tan hopes it's the end of Yining. The 2 mutants managed to brutally attack Yining, and they both looked shocked by the attack. It was impossible for Yining to survive the attack. However, unexpectedly, the brutal attack launched by the spider mutant and the centipede mutant was successfully attacked strongly by Yining, causing the 2 mutants to lose instantly. They and Lin Tan, who saw this incident, were suddenly shocked by the Yining came out from danger and defeated the 2 mutants instantly. After seeing Yining defeat the mutant, they immediately became spirit again to fight with the mutants. They started attacking the large mutants simultaneously. Meanwhile, Yining continues his fight with the centipede mutant. He rides the mutant while using his telekinesis skill. After Yining got on the mutant centipede, he planned to find the weakness of the mutant, and finally he managed to find weakness of the mutant centipede. Namely right in the mutant's eyes. Then Yining, with his telekinesis skills, immediately attacked the centipede mutant. After the eyes of centipede mutant were successfully weakened by Yining's telekinesis skill, he immediately gathered his energy in his right hand, and directly threw energy of the punch towards the centipede mutant, so that the mutant lost instantly. Those who saw Yining's power were very surprised. They were surprised because Yining could defeat a high-level mutant by himself, whereas it took them a long time to defeat the female demon. Lin Tan, who saw the power that Yining had just released, also made her a little surprised. Then she ordered her subordinates to act in the 6th wave, focusing on Yining and then taking his resources. They seem to know Lin Tan's plan, because she will act in the 6th wave, and they plan to attack her during the 6th wave. Finally, after they finished the 5th wave, the 6th wave began with a composition of 3 second-order peaks. Finally, the 6th wave started. Lin Tan immediately started her plan. The first thing she would do was attack all the zombies that were blocking her action while it was taking place. Lin Tan finished off all the zombies alone easily, and she also tried to defeat 1 second-order peak mutant with a punch that she aimed at the mutant's stomach. However, Lin Tan's attack was still not very strong, so the mutant made a counterattack, but she managed to avoid the mutant's sword attack easily. After avoiding the sword slash made by the mutant, she immediately released a crescent moon kick towards the high-level mutant with force. After successfully defeating a high-level mutant, Lin Tan was shocked by a sudden attack from another mutant, but she already knew the movement of the mutant, and immediately took out a blood shield to protect herself from the mutant attack. Meanwhile, on the other side, Yining, who saw Lin Tan's abilities, analyzed that she used strength and agility in 2 different classes, plus a speed boost, and then additional damage and defense buffs. They don't just sit there. Right now they plan to detain the Blood Butcher mutant first. When Lin Tan has finished off all the mutants there, she will run here, and at that time, they attack Lin Tan. Lin Tan finally managed to finish off the last mutant, and she immediately ran towards them, and they were already prepared for this. After running towards them, Lin Tan immediately finished off the mutant Blood Butcher with one kick. Then Song started their plan. Teng directly released his high arrow skill towards Lin Tan, who was finishing her battle with the Blood Butcher mutant. Teng's high arrow attack aimed at Lin Tan's back, but on the other side, Yining had a bad feeling about this. Teng's high-level arrow attack managed to hit her. Unexpectedly, Teng's attack actually hit Song, and Song was seriously injured as a result of the attack. Yining also tried to read Lin Tan's movements and concluded that she used switched places with Song, with the alleged skill being damage transfer ability. After Song lost, Lin Tan immediately attacked Lin Teng with her speed. She immediately used her speed, and while running she punched Teng hard in the stomach. The combination of speed and strong punch was able to make Teng lose instantly. Then she started torturing Teng by take damage his left hand. After that, Lin Tan ordered her subordinates to carry out the task of gathering the loot, and let her finish off all the remaining mutants. Then they began to use harshness to force Teng and Song to release all his resources. After seeing what they did to Song and Teng, Yining tried to be cooperative by being willing to provide all of resources to them. Suddenly, the alarm from Wave 6 was over. Without thinking, Yining immediately defeated this person in an instant. It turned out that was his plan, and now he continued to Wave 7 with the maximum level of difficulty. They were all shocked by the Wave 7 battle alarm. Even though their boss had only determined up to Wave 6, they were all confused. It turned out that only 70% of their votes were reject, and the remaining percent were those who agreed. One of them was Song, who agreed to vote for Wave 7. Hearing this, Lin Tan was angry and immediately attacked Song. Suddenly, when Lin Tan tries to attack Song, a large mutant worm comes out of the ground and blocks her way. Then on the other side, Yining with his telekinetic power defeated all the subordinates and told Teng and Song to hurry and run as far as possible from the area. They heard Yining's instructions, and this was their chance to escape. Yining did this because he had a plan. A plan that requires him to defeat all the mutants in one attack on a large scale. This is because the Wave 7 mutants have a high level of intelligence, so ordinary attacks do not work. The mutant worm attacked Lin Tan so quickly that she couldn't dodge, but because she had the swap position skill, she did so by changing positions with her subordinates. But the attack from the worm was still not over. Lin Tan was still being chased by the worm and tried to avoid the mutant's attack. But she was unable to avoid the mutant's attack and was hit by damage from the mutant. Yining immediately took advantage of this, and he directly released his ultimate skill to finish off his opponent in one large-scale attack. Yining released his ultimate skill, namely Sword Tempest. This power it's on a whole other level to compared to a third-order mutant. Seeing this incident, Lin Tan was very surprised and didn't think there was another third-order awakener here besides him. The scale of this attack was so great that she trapped in this area couldn't escape, and she was also in danger now. Those who saw Yining's real power were very surprised, because he could defeat all the high-level mutants of Wave 7 with one large-scale powerful attack. They also thought that Yining was an advanced third-order awakener. Yining didn't know whether Lin Tan was still alive or not, so he used his psychic detection telekinesis skill to make sure. It turns out that Yining's telekinesis reacted. Lin Tan was still alive, and the dagger was pointing at her. But she got some kind of protective gear. Then he just finished the job myself. Unexpectedly, when Yining wanted to defeat her, she managed to ward off the dagger with a strange shield, thus protecting her head. It seemed like his telekinetic powers weren't working on her, and now it was time to move because he knew that Lin Tan was already in a weak state at the moment. Yining was already in front of Lin Tan, but when he slashed her it didn't work, because barrier was protecting her, and Lin Tan thought it was an insult to her, so she told Yining to immediately finish her off with full power. But for Yining, it was true that he couldn't break the barrier, and now he was thinking of using strange methods to get something, instead of finished her. Yining's plan is to use intimidating words that can corner Lin Tan's condition, so that inevitably she has to hand over her gear, items and all her credits. In the end, Yining's method worked, and he got all the resources from Lin Tan. She had thought that Yining was a third-order awakener, but in fact he wasn't. He was just a second-order awakener, as seen from him not being able to break Lin Tan's shield. Everything Yining does makes her angry, and she will continue look for Yining to revenge. Then Yining will always wait whenever she is ready. From the results obtained in this dungeon, he was very satisfied, and Yining planned to sell some of the resources he got, then use some of them himself, and he succeeded in completing this dungeon factory. Then he left that place using his motorbike, but in the middle of the travel he was suddenly stopped by someone who asked for help. Yining stopped and immediately helped the person whose vehicle had flipped. It turns out it was a trap from this person. He was surrounded by a group of thieves, but Yining easily managed to defeat them all. But the person who had asked him to help ran away, and Yining immediately threw his dagger at the person. The dagger managed to hit this person, and he fell. But there was something strange. He didn't bleed when his leg was scratched by the dagger. The person didn't seem to be in pain, and Yining concluded that he wasn't a human, zombie or mutant. Due to Yining's doubts, he immediately interrogated this strange person,